Hi guys, welcome back to Crow's Whisper Tarot. Today we're going to be looking at your past life love story and how it has impacted your life today. So let's skip into the piles. So guys, here are the piles. We have pile 1, pile 2, pile 3 and pile 4. Take your time selecting the piles. You may be drawn to more than one. So pile 1, welcome to your reading. So to start off with your past life love story, we have the Otter Spirit, which is never alone. This particular group, it has a very strong connection to the person that was involved in your past life with. So with this, it shows that this individual that you were really connected with was very much someone that you were close to, probably best friends with, had a really strong emotional connection with, as well as spiritual connection. So we have the Hawk Spirit with Let Spirit Be Your Guide, as well as the 12th house with introspection. So this entire connection is based very much a mental, spiritual, subconscious level, and was really strong, and you were very much attracted to this person, and it was so strong that you were able to essentially forsake any other possible romantic connection because you felt like this was it and this is the only one for you, the only person for you, and end of. There's no other person that you ever considered in your life. The only thing with this connection is that I think they couldn't see you as a potential romantic interest, not because they just didn't have any feelings for you. They were mostly avoiding those feelings. And that was due to circumstances out of their control. They felt like they weren't in a place where they could emotionally connect to you and reciprocate those romantic affections. It's very much that they were just focused on their own life, and you provided so much love, care, and connection, but their focus was very much on, I guess, more survival mode and things that are going on in their life rather than looking outwards and seeing more romantic partners. So it's not like they went after someone else. They just weren't interested in any sort of romantic connection with anyone. And that led you to be quite heartbroken and disappointed because it's always like a one-sided affair, and that's not fair for you, and it's not fair for them either because they're not in a state where they could accept any sort of feelings that you had. So I don't think you voiced the affections that you had. I think you kept it very much to yourself and kept that interest very much to yourself. But with the Star card here, I'm getting the feeling off the bat that you decided to continue to hope and dream that one day this person would reciprocate those emotions for you. And they did have very strong, with the Otter Spirit here with You Are Never Alone, it seems like they had a very strong emotional connection to you as well. But they interpret it more as a friendship, as a very deep friendship, and they weren't able to get themselves to look past it, and that was where it became a bit difficult for you to sort of deal with the situation because you could see their side of things as well. So with the Star card, for some of you as well, I'm getting the feeling like you may have chosen at the end of that lifetime to make a contract and say, I'm going to meet this person again in this lifetime and see what sort of connection we could have and see if there could possibly be a romantic interest. Then we have the 5 of Cups and the Judgment card again. So I think in this lifetime you're probably still waiting for that person to come into your life. I think you may have had, for some of you, a sense that there is a perfect person out there, or you're searching for a very particular type of person, a very particular type of connection, and so far you haven't been able to find it yet. But what I am seeing as well is that even if things haven't worked out and you haven't seen, that person in this lifetime, but you still have that connection and still feeling like you're getting to a stage where you really want to see and respond to that connection, I'm getting the feeling like you haven't had the opportunity enough to go out and find this person. For some of you, I think you've stuck to places that you're used to going, places that are comfortable for you, that you think, they should, turn up in my life and they would just be there. But the fact of trying to go out into different environments so you get more of a chance to meet this person is quite important. I'm getting, for some of you, you could be either knowing that you would be pursuing this person a lot quicker and a lot more determined compared to your past lifetime, and getting the feeling like you would be the one to initiate the connection more than them initiating it with you. So I think part of it is that spiritual connection will still be there in this lifetime, but it's really, you've already made up your mind as to what path you're willing to take with the Two of Swords here as well, because as much as the connection has been relatively easy to sense and get into, I think in this lifetime you're really looking at trying to be the first one to, I guess, confess to them or be really quick to ask them out on a date and not hesitate. That's the biggest thing that I'm getting as well. Any additional messages for pile 1 on this lifetime? Any hints you can give them on this lifetime? We have the Explorer of Wands. So, if you are more quiet, a little more reserved, try to go out as much as possible, again, with exploring things that you haven't done, exploring new environments, trying to join different groups and socialize. It's a very big connection, and I think it's definitely worth your time to try and explore it. I think you've always known that too. And again, we got the Explorer of Pentacles. So I think a lot of you may have heard from friends or family that you're taking things really slow, you haven't really, gone out with a lot of people, you haven't seen a lot of people, you're not willing to, go out on dates as much, you're very quick to judge people, or you don't seem interested in a lot of romantic connections, and that's really related to you having an inner knowing that things are meant to be. With the Explorer of Pentacles, which is the Knight of Pentacles, it's all about trying to take your time and suss out your environment and really understand where your life falls into place, and knowing what's right for you. So having both the determination of the Knight of Wands and the slow-paced, controlled thought and thoughts for the future also, about the Knight of Pentacles as well. How will you meet this person in this lifetime? How will they meet person in this lifetime? Interesting. So, off the bat, I'm getting with the Five of Swords reversed. You may have gone through a really tough experience in your life, more so related to family, friends, relationships. and things not quite working out, or realizing that someone hasn't been truthful to you, or realizing that things have been kept from you and you feel a bit stuck in that energy. And with the 8 of Swords here, feeling like you can't really move forward, and getting yourself in a mental state where you're able to feel like you've moved past the situation. With the 6 of Pentacles here as well, you may have had a few opportunities to do any sort of social work, or going to different locations, being generous with yourself. You may have gotten a helping hand from someone close to you as well, that has been supporting you throughout this really tough journey. I don't believe that's the romantic partner that you have in mind, but it could be for some of you as well. In addition to that, how will you meet this individual? We have the Elder of Cups and the Child of Cups. So we have the King of Cups and the Page of Cups. So with this connection, the way you'll meet is you will be, as we sort of discussed earlier, you would be the one to pursue them. And you would be sort of looking at them from a distance, trying to think about how you're going to approach them, being really logical about it, and being very certain in yourself as to what's the right time to go to the surface and, explore with them and ask them about their opinion of what's going on, in terms of if they're interested in the connection, and they will simply be sitting there waiting for you to make a move. I feel like this is a very much a soul contract sort of relationship that seems to be coming into play. A lot to do with having a really strong bond, and that's seen with the 12th house and with the Hawk spirit of spirit being your guide as well. It's a very deep connection, and you've been through in your past life thick and thin with this person, been through them at every stage of their life, and them also being for every stage of your life as well. It's just that in your past life the romantic connection hasn't been explored at all, whereas this lifetime that's sort of the focus. So the shift is very much there. Is there a time frame that we can get of pile 1 meeting this person? Any sort of time frame. We have the World card and the Guardian of Wands, so the Queen of Wands. In terms of time frame, the only thing that comes to mind is by the end of the year is what comes to mind. So we see the year as a cycle, we see the world and full cards coming in through a cycle as well. So by the end of the year, I would say. And if I'm not mistaken, the Queen of Wands would be Sagittarius season. I might be wrong on that. We'll check. But towards the end of the year, more so, is when you would get any sort of change. So Sagittarius season would be between mid-November, is where we're looking at, which is very close. If you're watching this at the time I'm posting this video, that is very close. So pile 1, that is your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it made sense, and I will see you guys in the next one. Hello pile 2, and welcome to your reading. So today you guys picked the citrine crystal, and let's have a look at your past life love story. Off the bat, we have the pig spirit with use your mind wisely. We have the grasshopper spirit with take a leap of faith. we have progressions and journey, and we have Venus beloved. So what this ultimately shows in terms of your past life love reading is that you may have been betrothed to someone in your past life, and it wasn't so much a love match, but you felt like that was the best match for you. It's getting, Regency, Bridgerton vibes, anything that was related to that era. And I think because of where you were wanting to be in life and the type of people you wanted to be associated with progressions here, things were a little bit out of your control. I think with how things progressed and how things moved forward, it was really your decision in terms of judging his character. But other than that, selecting potential partners, you were looking at it from more of a social standing standpoint rather than a relationship standpoint. And that meant that you had to use your mind wisely. You had to be making sure that this is the right person for you long term, and also having a bit of faith in that person to look after you and make sure that you were well protected. With the journey that you're on with this person, we have the Fool card. So this is someone quite unexpected. You didn't think you would connect well with them, but it ended up being that you were very much having good vibes with this person. Things moved on really well, and you ultimately got married to this person with the Hierophant here. I think it was a unexpected match, but things worked out really well for you, and you found that you were having what you wanted and things moved off really smoothly in the beginning, and things stayed that way for a relatively long period of time. I think with the Wheel of Fortune as well, it would have been a very good match for you at that time. So there was no mistakes made with, being set up with the wrong person or anything like that. Things were very much in your favor. I think the only difficulty you faced was that you felt like you weren't the only one that individual was seeing, or it could have been some sort of adultery, cheating, scandal, as well as for some of you it could have been the inability to bear children as well, potentially. But that didn't mean that you didn't have a good life. You had a very happy life, enjoyable life. It was just some things here and there that would crop up, and then after a period of time it will move away, and then after a period of time it will come back. So depending on the circumstances, there were just some situations at that time that weren't the most ideal. However, it wasn't anything that would, cause massive disturbances within the relationship. As I said, it was very much, it's not quite a love match. It was more of a proposal that you accepted. So you took things with, a grain of salt, had a leap of faith. You just managed it the way you could manage it at that time. How that impacts this lifetime is that you have a very different perspective on love and relationships and what you can gain from them. I think because your past life was a little bit rigid with how you can meet people and how you can, form relationships and how relationships are meant to be at that time, you feel like in this lifetime you're willing to explore all potential possibilities of relationships. So that might mean that, you go on multiple dates, or that you go on dates and then you move in together for a period of time, then you move out once you find that the lifestyle isn't working. You're willing to try different perspectives of relationships, and willing to try different ways of meeting people, different ways of communicating, and everything to do with it. So you're very open to unconventional relationships in terms of how it's moving forward or the pace it's moving at. That doesn't really bother you. With the Ace of Pentacles here as well, it's all about taking every opportunity that you have and making the most of it. If you're having a connection with someone, you're willing to immediately go out and explore it a bit more. The only thing is that leads you to feeling a little bit alone and a little bit unstable. It doesn't feel like you have the biggest... It feels almost like you're too much of a nomad to actually have a home, and feeling that instability in terms of relationships as well. You could feel that for some of you, you can't really show your true self to people, or you get to a point where you're not sure if you're playing the part or if you're actually genuinely yourself, and that can sometimes take a bit of a toll on you as well. With the World card here, it's all about trying to figure out where, or rather what type of relationship you would ideally want to have, and trying to explore that in a little more detail is really beneficial to you. Let's take a look about that a little bit further. What sort of relationships would be, or rather, what sort of relationship dynamic would be the most ideal for pile 2? We have the Guardian of Cups. We have the Four of Swords. We have the Explorer of Swords. The main thing off the bat in terms of relationship with the Guardian of Cups, it's all about trying to have a really solid emotional connection, but also emotional stability. The biggest challenge I think you face is that you haven't been able to get to a point where you can be as honest as you can and as vulnerable as you can in relationships. I think you're constantly trying to use your mind to get you in and out of relationships, but you really need to let things sit and take time to process, and not try and rush into things head first with the Explorer of Swords or the Knight of Swords here. I think the biggest impact for you is that you haven't got to a stage mentally where you can just sit with relationships and be calm in relationships. I think because you're constantly trying things that are new, you haven't quite found what works and what doesn't. What that might mean is that you may need to start writing down, based on all the relationships that you had, if you had any recently, or the ones that had the biggest impact on you, and write down what worked in those relationships and what didn't work. As much as you're pushing forward and pushing through with those relationships, it seems like you haven't quite figured out what you genuinely need in relationships versus what might be good at that time of dating just that person. I think you need to sort of make a list of qualities as well of what works for you and what doesn't. Just because it seems like you're a little bit chaotic when it comes to meeting people and finding relationships that are meant for you. We have the Empress. I think, again, finding a relationship where you can be vulnerable, where you can be yourself, where you can show yourself love and show yourself, self-respect and being in your true form. I think that's something that hasn't quite built up yet. it seems like for some of you might have too much of an analytical mind, that when it comes to, oops, I dropped a card. When it comes to relationships, you haven't quite got to the point where you can be your genuine self and be as true to yourself as possible. It seems like you're always trying to impress the other person, or always seeming to try and, again, adjust to what they say, what they do, just so you can feel out the relationship a bit longer. But sometimes it's better to have really strong boundaries, and I think that's something that you need to work on. With the Explorer of Wands here, Knight of Wands, it is all about trying to get as much of enjoyment out of relationships as you put in the effort. I think you're sort of lost that a little bit, where you're constantly trying to feel out the other person rather than getting advice, or not so much advice, but trying to get a better perspective of relationships. One thing that pile 2 needs in a relationship is, again, the Knight of Swords, someone who is very straightforward with their communication. There's no, unnecessary words. There's no unnecessary communication, nothing on the surface, just really straightforward, blunt communication. And again, with the Hierophant, someone who is traditional in that sense, where they will sweep you off your feet, that they will woo you, because even if in your past life you explored some of that, I think with the possibilities here, you've been trying to look at relationships in as many different forms as you can. And sometimes what is bland is what is going to work. Sometimes looking for too much complexity in relationships leads to more confusion, whereas stability sometimes just brings more clarity into a relationship. Something that is worth exploring. So if you find that you either don't have much of a place in relationships, or you feel like what you have going on isn't working for you at the moment, try and rethink of what would really sweep you off your feet. What would really make it a solid relationship for you? Is it that, constantly traveling to different places isn't working for you? Is it long distance relationships that are not working for you? Is it that this person is really quick with how they progress the relationship? Is that not working for you? You need to sort of diagnose yourself as to what sort of romantic interest would suit you the best. I think when it comes to forming relationships, moving through relationships, that's all good. It's just trying to figure out the best ultimate person for you. It takes going back and looking at what has worked and what hasn't worked, and trying to help think about the next person coming into your life, and will they suit your criteria, because that's also very important. So, pile 2, that was your reading. I hope it made sense. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Hello, pile 3. Welcome to your reading. You guys picked out the Rainbow Moonstone. So, into your past love life. So, the Canary Spirit with Sing Your Own Song. We have the Beaver Spirit with Lay a Solid Foundation. I think your past life love story is all about that you had a relationship with someone who was very much strong in who they were, strong in their personality, what they brought to the table. But I think that you felt a little bit uncomfortable being yourself, saying things for yourself and standing up for yourself. I think the biggest change is that with the first house here, it's all about your view of yourself and how others view you. I think you were hyper-focused on how others saw you and not enough confidence in who you were and what you brought to the situation and what you brought to the table, essentially. So it's not that the relationship was difficult for you, but it's that because of the pressure of your spouse and the pressure of your external environment, you weren't able to be your true self and express yourself the way you wanted to. With the 9 of Rings here, or the 9 of Pentacles, you had everything that you could want financially. You had all the resources that you could need. You were not without, except for the feeling of being almost like imposter syndrome within the environment that you were in. I think you felt like you didn't really have a place, or you had to change who you were to be in that relationship. And you felt like you could sort of wait it out with the 7 of Pentacles here, but you couldn't really find the right time or place to express yourself. So you sort of would be like, oh, you know, when this happens, I'll show my true self. I'll do this, I'll do that. But you never really put anything into action. So you'll think about it. You'll be like, this isn't right. I need to change. But you'll just end up repeating the same process again and again. And so it gets to a point where you're sort of in a state with the Ace of Cups here that you're sort of hyper-focused on the experiences of others and the emotions of others. So you sort of manipulated your life to revolve around other people, and you sort of gave up on trying to show your true self and express your emotions the way you wanted to. For some of you, it could be that you were put into a position where you're not meant to show frustration or sadness or anger. You're meant to be just a happy, kind, patient person, and that wasn't quite who you were. I think you were in general a little bit childlike, a little bit chaotic, very expressive in your facial emotions and wanting to express everything about yourself, but because of the foundations that were there, you weren't able to really be as true to yourself as you would like. And what's interesting is you have the exact same energy in this lifetime. So we got 2 pages of wands. In this lifetime, you are willing to really put yourself out there, to really show off your childish energy and to really show off your love for life. And with the Elder of Swords here, or the King of Swords, you're not afraid of expressing what you want to express. You're not holding yourself back anymore. You're not restricting parts of yourself like you were in the past. And you're letting everything about yourself shine through. There's no trying to hold yourself back, no trying to put on a face. You're being very, very genuine to yourself. So that is awesome. And that's in this lifetime, which is even better. So in addition to that, we have the Ace of Wands, the King of Swords, and the 8 of Pentacles. So again, we have the repeating King of Swords energy coming through. I think the person that you're attracting in this lifetime will very much be someone who is on your level in terms of communication. I think the biggest thing that you're looking for in a partner is that someone who is very headstrong, has very much a passionate person, very expressive, but also very good with their words. And also having a really good work ethic with the 8 of Pentacles there as well. So Ace of Wands, I think you guys will have a really fun, exciting, adventurous spirit together. And the 8 of Pentacles, I think as a team, you tend to work well together, but you're better working on projects alone. I think The only thing I'm getting is that you may butt heads with any sort of projects or home renovations or different jobs that you have if you are in fact working together, because of you guys being equally headstrong in knowing what you want. Let's get a little more information about your love story in this lifetime. Love story in this lifetime for pile 3. And with how long that took to shuffle, it may be that you guys are meeting much later in life, or maybe a bit of a delay in how the relationship starts off. We have judgment and we have temperance, along with the 3 of Pentacles. So off the bat, it's interesting that I said you guys might not work well as a team, but you may meet through work for some of you as well. It may be a relationship that sort of takes time to grow and develop, similar to a tree. I think you may know a lot of people within your circle that you do have, and so you end up sort of branching out and then meeting them as well. With the Temperance card here, I'm getting that the reason you sort of balance each other out, but at the same time you don't really see eye to eye at the same time. It's an interesting dynamic, and I think what you give and take with the relationship is very balanced. It could be that you're meeting at some sort of event as well, where you're meant to randomly work as a team or randomly sort of build up what you do have. With the Judgment card here, it's almost like you want to go out and explore as much as possible. You want to go to places that are slightly uncomfortable as well, and slightly not safe really, but slightly out of odds. Could be an escape room as well, or a haunted house where you have to sort of solve puzzles while zombies are chasing after you. I don't know. It's a weird situation, but I think ultimately you guys get on really well. And again, both that childish energy plus intelligence coming through and communication, getting a lot of puzzle rooms, escape rooms, different things like that are popping through. Interesting. Let's see if we can get a timeline for this interesting relationship to take place. Of course, we have the Tower. Out of nowhere, can't tell you when this is going to happen. That is an amazing energy. So, as whatever the relationship is that you do have, it is going to be something that is very quick to start up. So as much as I think I mentioned it taking a bit of time for you to meet this person, when you do meet them, earth-shattering, amazing connection, you get along great. It's just in that scenario, I think you guys were a little bit off balance or just arguing to get your point across, so it's a bit similar to that, but I think overall you guys get along great. And with the Guardian of Wands here, so the Queen of Wands, it's all about being not just balanced but also really stable in the relationship that you bring. So it could be that you meet at a time where you're just at your peak fire energy, where you're constantly showing off, having fun, enjoying it, not caring what other people think, just going for it with who you are, and that is amazing. So, and it could be that you're quite busy at the time as well, working on a project. So if that is the case for you at that time, I think this is more of after you finish the project and then you celebrate sort of energy that I'm getting as well. So that was your reading, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a very fun reading for you guys. If you do enjoy it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Hello, pile 4, and this is your reading. So, looking at your past life love story, we have Taurus with cultivate. We have Mars with motion. We have the dolphin spirit with this and that are true. And we have the lion spirit with be generous of spirit. Off the bat, what I am getting for your past life relationship is that this was a very quick connection to take place. I think this individual was someone who was not only well off, but also had a lot of strength in terms of personality with the lion spirit as well, and also someone who was very open to new beginnings with new people. However, I think with Mars, they may be someone who is quick to get a little bit aggressive or quick to start arguments with other people, and that's where the balance aspect of aggression and generosity is something that they're definitely having, and so it's a little bit of a push and pull situation with them, and that is what shows up with the dolphin spirit there as well, connecting all of that together. In terms of your love story with this person, I think it didn't start off as the easiest relationship. I think because of the almost push and pull aspect to themselves, it becomes a little bit difficult for you to navigate the situation. And that not only comes from being in a state where it's very difficult to have your say in the situation and trying to mend the pieces that happen. I think because you're someone who is very maternal and very protective of them, it becomes a lot easier for them to get their way with things, and you sort of end up leaning onto whatever makes them happy. So if you have an argument and they're upset but they're really at fault, you'll still try and play it off as no, I was wrong, so here we go, and trying to push that comfort onto them, even if it's not needed and not applicable, but you still do it anyway because you want as much calm through your relationship as possible. With the Ace of Wands here as well, it was definitely a relationship that had its good sides and had its benefits, but equally it had moments where it was really difficult. So even if things were all rose-colored lenses, there's still thorns attached to it as well. So it's just that sort of thought process of it wasn't a perfect relationship, and there was a lot of things that had their own struggles and things that are really challenging for you to sort of move through and move past. But I think you try to make the most of that relationship as much as possible. With the 2, we also have the 2 of Pentacles here reversed. What this indicates is that as part of this journey that you've been on, you've been trying to move past that sort of unbalanced situation and trying to gain your own footing, and that shows up here with the Emperor as well. So in this lifetime, your mission is really to get to a state where you're feeling really secure in a relationship, that you're feeling in control, that you feel like the person that you're with is someone who not only makes you feel strong, but also allows you to lead and allows you your words to have purpose and meaning, and looking to you for support and strength as well. I think in the past life relationship that you had, it was all about the other person taking a lot of benefit out of the relationship rather than being equal footing. So that goes for arguments, it goes for resources, it goes for a lot of things in that relationship as well. So it could be that as generous as they are to other people, they're not that generous to you in terms of what they give and their time that they give for you as well. So that's just something that in this lifetime, what your mindset will be based on is, how can I be with someone who accepts all of me, allows me to do what I want, not asking too much of me, that the relationship is as balanced as possible, that I have everything that I need, and if I need to be listened to, I am listened to, and if I need something, I'll get it from them. That sort of mindset is something that has changed. So what that means for you is that in the relationships that you want in this lifetime, what you're looking for is someone who is emotionally there, who is emotionally supportive, comforting. Yes, Empress is sort of more motherly figure, but I see it more as someone who gives as much as they take. So it's a lot more balanced in that sense. And also a relationship where you don't feel so alone and so isolated. So it may have, with the Five of Pentacles here, it could be that in the relationship, past life, because you were pushing so much of yourself into the relationship, you felt like you didn't really have the comfort that you deserved. So that's something that will be changing in this lifetime. So in terms of what's coming for you in love, I think if you are currently single and looking for love, you just need a lot of patience. There is a plan for you. There is a very much a divine plan for you with the Lovers card here in terms of the relationship that will suit you. But to get to that point, it's going to be a little bit of a journey, and it'll take a little bit more time than you would initially think. With the Star card here, it's definitely something, whatever you have been hoping, praying for, things are eventually going to fall into place. It's just going to take a little more time than you might expect. For additional messages for pile 4, let's have a look. What can you tell us about their love story in this lifetime? So we have the Two of Pentacles. We have the Five of Swords again. Ooh. We have the World card, and we have the Page of Pentacles. So let's start off with that Five of Swords, because that is a card that is repeating itself from your past life. Pick that up. So 2 Five of Swords. This is interesting because we are moving past the place where, again, with the Two of Pentacles as well, that repeated too, we are getting to a place of stability and control. So I think in the past you felt like the relationship was imbalanced, and you always don't know when an argument's going to start. You always don't know when things are going to unfold. Whereas in this lifetime, you will have the upper ground in terms of any arguments or relationship issues that you have. I think you just now have a much higher power of knowledge of not only just navigating relationships, but you actually have more people on your team than you did in your past life. So even if it comes to really strong arguments with any individuals in your life, I'm not just saying romantic, you have people on your side who will take your side and appreciate your arguments, and support you in that sense too, compared to your past life where you felt like you were on your own and very much isolated. We also have the Two of Pentacles here again, so it's all about having enough balance in the relationship, but also whatever tasks that you're doing at home, whether you're cleaning the house, you're paying the bills, you will have the additional support from the people around you, and from your partner as well. It's not just going to be one-sided in that relationship. It's going to be having a lot of assistance and guidance from people around you, and that's the biggest change. So as you can see with the Five of Swords here, you have people who have your back, who are circling just as you are, trying to solve the relationship and trying to solve issues that come into play. They're not just sort of letting the broken sword be a broken sword. They're actually trying to protect and to heal. We also have the World card. So again, this is going to be a relationship that is well worth the time of waiting. It is going to fulfill you as much as you fulfill it. It's very balanced. It's very much the peak happiness that you can get, and you'll have everything that you need. With the Page of Pentacles, you may find that this relationship comes at a time where you're in changing fields, new in a different field, exploring new opportunities that come into your life. It could be passion projects, it could be in the workplace, it could be at home as well with the people that you're with and people that you're around. It's all about trying to grow as much as possible in whatever you're doing, and that might be at the time that this individual comes into your life. So if you're feeling like you're still studying, you're still having opportunities that you're doing that are very much still there and very much haven't changed, then now is not the time for that person to come into your life. It's going to be at a time where there's a change happening, and that could even be at a time where your pay is increasing or your financial state has changed in some sort of way. That's when this individual will come into your life. At the bottom of the deck, we also have the Tower, followed by the Fool. So definitely things are on the horizon, but you won't know this opportunity is coming unless you really keep your eyes peeled for it. It seems like for you guys, it is at a time where things are very slow and consistent, and then suddenly there's a shift. And it might not be a massive shift as much as the Tower usually indicates a massive shift. I think it's a slight change to the pace of your life at this stage, especially work related is what I'm getting as well. So that was your reading, pile 4. I hope you enjoyed it, and please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.